Welcome everyone to Spurs Debate TV. We're here to discuss Tottenham's fortunes, which are not great at the moment. And to do so for the next 60 minutes, we have Sid and Pipes in the panel today. Do get your questions in, do like us, and do share the stream. Now, we've got a lot to discuss. There's been a lot of managerial links to Spurs today on TalkSport, on Sky, in the media. The big question mark for today's show is, should Igor Tudor be sacked? Are the players to blame? How much responsibility do the board take? And where does the blame lie? Because Spurs are about to do something that hasn't been done for 50 years, and that is get relegated. So we will be getting into that. Please do get your questions in, like I say, in the comments, and we will cover every blade of grass in and around these questions that are so important to answer. We've got Liverpool away next. We've just come off the back of 6 losses. We haven't won all year, and we've just broke another record, which is losing 6 games in a row in all competitions. So Tottenham are in the mud, but to get out the mud, there must be solutions. And to join me on these questions, we have Sid, who's a season ticket holder, and he goes to the game. So Sid, it'll be good to get your views on the atmosphere, the fans, and everything within the stadium. And Pipes, I know you're a very knowledgeable person when it comes to Spurs, and you've supported them a long time. So it'll be great to get your views, chaps. So the first question I'd like to pose to both of you is, and I know this is not a simple yes or no, but let's start the show with this question, because this is a question on everyone's lips at the moment, is should Igor Tudor still be the Tottenham Hotspur manager as it stands?
Well, the question is, how is he still the Tottenham manager? It's unfathomable that he's still the manager in my eyes, because he's come in, and whether some of the things he said is correct in terms of the players, we're at the stage of the season now where it's counterproductive to ball out the players in public like this. These players somehow need to be, I know it's pathetic, but they need a cuddle, they need an arm around the shoulder, they need to be told they're the greatest players in the world. All these things is what needs to be applied now. Man management now is what needs to be applied right now, even more than tactics. Because quite frankly, the tactics at this stage of the season now is really here nor there. It's about getting these players engaged, getting them motivated, and getting them to actually give a shit, to be quite blunt. And he's come in and he's wielded the big stick. His tactics are here, there, and everywhere. 1 minute is 3 at the back, then it's 5 at the back, then it's this. I mean, right now the players just need clarity, and they need less is more. They need the minimal information to go out there and try and give their best or express themselves. And I said it at the time, and most of us said it as well, to parachute a manager into the situation that we are in at the moment, looking literally at the trapdoor of relegation, to parachute a manager in who's never managed in the Prem before was really suicide. And as we've seen, he's come in and we ain't had no new manager bounce. We've had the new manager, I don't know, trounce, as they keep saying on TalkSport. But, there's been nothing. The players, they're showing nothing. They don't look like they're having him. And he's been there 5 minutes. So, quite frankly, and obviously we had which I'm going to be honest with you, I caught 5 minutes of the game against Madrid. But it was enough for me to see that, it's just comical what's going on. So, yeah, I expect him to be sacked. I expected him to have been sacked basically after the game. The fact that it wasn't forthcoming, and we're now, 2-3 days on, and apparently he's going to take the Liverpool game. I can't work it out. I can't fathom it, to be honest with you. So, yeah, he shouldn't be here.
Yeah, he is. Sid, you agree or disagree?
He should never have been appointed. He should never, ever, ever been appointed. And like Pipe said, you can't bring a manager who's got no experience of the Premier League whatsoever. Yeah. he got sacked by Juventus because obviously after his initial 6 games or whatever, where he went unbeaten or whatever, they must have been crap for him to get sacked. Now, we don't know the ins and outs, but who on earth brings in a manager that's never had any experience whatsoever after you've sacked Thomas Frank? It's just piss poor management. It's just from the offset, everything from the top all the way down, it's just been an absolute... Should be on a comedy channel. Seriously, should be on a comedy channel with some of the decisions that they're making. And then this guy comes in. Now, I don't know whether he's trying to be like Phil Mitchell from EastEnders and throw his weight around, but it's not working. It's like more like the in-betweeners, isn't it? Where they're just walking around. Everyone's just walking around like this, going, "What the hell are we doing?" The defense is doing like that, formations and whatever. Is what he's picking, what he's playing, nobody knows. Even I don't think the players know. Even midway through the game, we don't know what's going on. So should have never have been appointed. Should have been sacked after, even before the Madrid game. Should have been sacked straight after the Madrid game with the shenanigans that went on with what happened with Kinski and then Jed Spence coming over to him after he got substituted to say, "Oh, mate, I'm still here. Thanks for taking me off." And now whether that was a dig or not, I don't know. But we can now clearly see that he's lost the dressing room. Players don't respect him. He hasn't got a clue what's going on. And his press conferences, he's just hasn't got a clue what he's saying. So I don't know what's going on. I mean, that day when the breaking news came, I was sat there watching it and I thought, here we go, breaking news, yes. And Jamie Horror was there as well. So they was just trying to wind him up. But when they said breaking news, he's taking a conference on Friday, press conference. Like, what are you talking about? Why is he even taking a press conference? Why? What's he going to say? What's he going to do? We've got Liverpool and then Atletico Madrid next, back to back. Then we've got Nottingham Forest. Why? I don't understand it, and people are now saying all these rumours and then they're saying that he might not even be in charge on Sunday. They might sack him before then. But answer your question, mate. He should not be here. He should never have been here in the first place.
So, chaps, he's saved the likes of Juventus. He's saved the likes of Lazio. He's managed in Italy, obviously, Juventus and Lazio. He's managed in France, Marseille. He came through the ranks of Croatian management with Hajduk Split. That's how you say it. He's also managed at Udinese, Galatasaray, PAOK, Croatia's assistant manager. So it's not like he's just like, you know what I mean? Like he's been around the block. But how would you describe his management style? Because to me, what I'm seeing is a very sort of disciplinarian, my way or the highway kind of approach. And if he thinks that's going to work, he better have a plan B, because you can't be like that unless you're one of the best. Maybe Fergie or Pep or a Conte, winners that have proven what they can do can come in the dressing room with that sort of, I'm here. The guy's here for 5 minutes, first of all. So that doesn't give him any credibility, because the players know he's only for 5 minutes. So do you think his approach of being hard and not shaking Kinski's hand or giving him a hug as he's pulled him off, and he's picked him for his Champions League debut? So he's made the decision to pick him. He's pulled him off, and then he's just completely ignored him. And a couple of the players, Gallagher and I think Solanke, ran down the tunnel to console him. Jed Spence came off the pitch, didn't shake his hand, then come off the bench and shook his hand. Was that a cryptic message of, yeah, nice one, boss. Yeah, good one, mate. You really know what you're doing. So do you think that his management style, this hard approach, is what the players need? Or because some fans are saying, listening to radio and social media, that actually these players are sport and they need someone to let them know your place ain't safe, even if you are part of the leadership team. So even if you are a Vicario and you're number one for Spurs, you can be dropped. So where do you sit on the fence? Because on one side, these players probably need a bit of a beating and a bit of a, this is what time it is. And on the other side, these players seem to want a hug and a kiss and be told they're great and they're amazing. So, it's not easy as it's not. I don't know. What's the answer, man? I mean, do we need a softy approach now? Is that the next guy we go for?
The problem is, you can come in guns blazing. You can come in like the hard man. You can come in like the Vinnie Jones and act tough and stuff like that. When you've got players that are not interested, when you've got players that have seen you train them and they've made their mind up already that we're not going to have him, then no matter how hard, how many decisions you make, how many bollockings you give, it's not going to happen. They're not going to listen to him. They've already made their mind up. Now, all these rumors going around that one player's already said that he's done, he's just waiting, you don't care because he's going to get a move. Other players are united, but they're not united with the manager. They just want to do it for the fans and the club, which I think is nonsense. He doesn't make himself any better because at the end of the day, that Kingsley decision, for me, if you're going to drop Vicario, then you should have dropped him for Crystal Palace game. You don't bring in Kingsley, who's not had any kind of minutes into a Champions League round 16 game. Yes, people might say he's a keeper though, and this, that, the other. But we've got Austin and we've got the other keeper there. They could have just come in and played. No experience whatsoever. And Kingsley got the nerves, yes. But did he make that decision because everybody was on Vicario's back? And then he's trying to prove a point, like, let's bring him in. And if he does well, then everyone's going to say, yeah, Tudor brought him in. Frank didn't do it, but Tudor brought him in and whatever. But then the mistakes that they made, where are the leaders? Where were the leaders there? Where's Romero? All right, there's no Palhinha there, but where's the rest of the team? One of them putting their arm around Kingsley. Manager's completely been ignorant and just completely blanked him. And they've decided to, sub him. Now, whether Romero told him to not, I don't know. I don't buy that. Romero told him, but I don't know. And then when you're subbing him, you're not even acknowledging him. You made the decision to bring him in. Yeah? It's not worked. You're taking him off after 15 minutes. At least hug him, pat him on the back, or do something. Yeah? Not completely, utterly blank him and let him walk down that tunnel. That poor, I'm not going to say poor kid, but at the end of the day, you've got to acknowledge him. You know what I mean? So, all this, we know we've got a group of players that you can do the soft approach, you can do the hard approach. It's not working. It's not working. They've down tools.
That's what I mean. So if we get a Redknapp in and he tells them, "Oh, you're great, you're the best," because Redknapp actually said today, because he's at the Cheltenham races and they interviewed him, and he said, "I actually spoke to Daniel Levy for an hour for the first time since I got sacked, and Daniel Levy said to me, I would have hired you." So, I mean, what'd you make of that, Pipes? Is Redknapp the man? I mean, do half these squad, does Romero know who Redknapp even is?
Yeah, but you know what? That's irrelevant to me. I mean, that's always been my choice. And I make no apology for it. Because Redknapp, whatever you say, he will get in amongst them. He will get them engaged. He will get them feeling good about themselves. And he obviously knows the club. And all I'm hearing about is his age and how he hasn't managed for 10 years. Like football has become this different game now where the ball is square and we don't use goals. The game is essentially still the same. So Redknapp can come in. It's only 8-9 games. Yeah.
Pipes, they don't need to be told. They don't need to have armed around them. They're professional footballers.
I agree with you. But something at the moment is the players, they either look like they couldn't give two figs.
That's what it is.
Or they look absolutely petrified every time they step on the football pitch.
Why?
I don't know.
So do they not need guys, do they not need a motivator than a disciplinarian then? If you guys are saying they don't look motivated, if that's the solution, because they're good enough. A lot of these players are good enough to win a game of football.
The big stick is not going to work.
No.
It's not going to work. And particularly when the big stick is applied, as you said. We're not talking about a Conte here or a Fergie, or you ain't talking about a manager with gravitas. So they're looking at Igor like, who are you?
So what the hell were the board doing when they were looking at this same screen I'm sharing with you boys now, which is his CV?
Well, basically, it goes back to what I said a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of shows ago, where this appointment screams of Paratici. But Paratici's no longer at the club.
That's why I heard that apparently the only number that they had was his already from in the summer when Spurs wanted him or Paratici wanted.
Yeah, because let's have it right,
fella.
Nobody on this board has the intelligence or the football knowledge to know anything about Tudor.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're a bunch of clowns that's running our club right.
Pipes. Not only that.
I never known who he was.
Not only that, Pipes. It just proves how clueless they are when you are in a dogfight, relegation dogfight, and you then go abroad to get a manager with no experience whatsoever of the Premier League.
But again, Sid, I mean, you all know my thoughts. I mean, is it clueless? Is it accidental?
Sabotage.
Because you're looking at it on the outside, and it's absolutely, as you said, as we've all said, it's a brain-dead decision to bring a manager in a relegation fight who has no experience of this league.
That's what I'm saying.
So you can't be that stupid, is what I'm saying. I'm saying what I've always said from day one. It is sabotage, and for some reason, and I haven't worked it out yet. This board want to tank this club and relegate us.
Yeah.
And my only question, quite frankly, is why? Because they're making too many errors or so-called mistakes for them to be mistakes or accidental. It has to be deliberate. There they are, the two merchants of doom. Yeah, we've
got Dumb and Dumber on the screen now. So who's to blame? Because I don't want to call them Dumb and Dumber. I'm just saying it as a joke, but it's starting to look.
Well, I don't know if you've caught it.
Real.
I don't know if you caught it, but Mr. Dummy 2 there, or the Guna double agent, he's come out yesterday now, firing darts at Levy.
Yeah. What's all that about?
And self-preservation mode to me.
Nah, you know what it is? He was going, I'm bulletproof, nothing to prove. It's just like, why are you deflecting it all on Daniel Levy for?
Yeah.
You've cocked it all up. Daniel Levy didn't hire all this manager and sack whatever and not make any decisions. You done it. So why are you now talking about Daniel Levy?
You know, it's his fault, Gov. No, nobody's there. Everybody's now, you know, they're jumping ship now because the ship is sunk almost. Yeah. So he's now trying to, you know, I mean, like I said, because at the end of the day, Levy, who hired them, Vinay, Lange, Frank, the rest of the board, they are all culpable for the situation we are now in. And we can't leave out Mad Ange neither, because he's piping up again on the bloody Champions League and chatting his usual, you know, crap.
Them two should be hounded out at Tottenham Stadium. They should not be allowed anywhere near the stadium. I'm telling you that now.
Lads, this fella on screen, a certain Mr. Levy, would he have allowed it to get this far? Because there's a lot of people saying Frank probably wouldn't be in a job after that Arsenal November result. It started going downhill from Chelsea. When it started going downhill. No, I'm talking in the Premier League. So if you look at the screen if you can see it, you can see a down arrow, right? Pretty much from Chelsea, right? So I've put a green line above Chelsea. We actually beat Everton away 3-0. We beat Leeds away. In fact, we had a pretty good start with away results. It was the home form that was mixed. So we beat Man City, obviously, 2-0. So after Chelsea, we went and lost pretty much 3-4 games in 5. We lost 3 in 5. We drew a couple. Would Daniel Levy, and I want to ask this question because I think we need to get out of the way. If there's one thing that Levy was good at, was maybe not waiting. I mean, as in just sacking them when they fell.
I'll accept that.
I think either the Newcastle game or maybe the Liverpool game, he would have pulled the trigger. I think he would have pulled the trigger in December at some point. He would not have waited that long. He would have pulled the trigger because he knew. Everybody knew how bad it was getting. We weren't winning. We weren't scoring. Players were injured. I think he would have pulled the trigger and then given the Christmas or January to somebody else to come in and say, right, here's a little bit of dough. Go and do what you got to do and save us. I think he would have pulled the trigger, 100%.
That's the shit sort of season in front of you there. We started in 4th and we've just been in a downwards free fall from the beginning of the season. There hasn't been any point where we've rescued it. There's been no point at which Frank has pulled that green line back up. There's no point at really where we've even maintained it. it's just been a couple of game weeks and then back down, couple of game weeks back down. And the only thing left now, guys, is 18th, relegation. So we are literally in the last chance saloon now to save Tottenham's 50-year Premier League status. That's how big this is. Tottenham have been in the Premier League for 50 years, and we're literally 3 or 4 games away from losing that status, that badge, that honor. I think this is probably, I don't know because I'm only so old, but is this going to be the worst moment of Tottenham's history?
Oh, 100%.
100%.
I mean, I can only speak for myself. I mean, and I'll be honest, I've been a supporter of this football club some 45, 46 years. And relegation was never, one, anything I thought about, and two, nothing that I don't know if I could even sign up for it. And I mean, this season and these players, I mean, don't get it twisted. We've had a couple of, poor seasons before in my lifetime supporting this football club. But I mean, obviously 93, 94 comes to mind as probably the most recent, or the last one where we were really, I think we had to nick it on the last day of the season to escape. But if you look at a 93, 94 team, they still had people like Sheringham, Klinsmann, Anderton. They still had players in that side.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
you know what? And I would agree. I think it's probably one of the worst teams that we've had at Tottenham. And unfortunately, what you said at the beginning on this topic is we've got players that just do not care. We've had players that actually gave a little bit of a toss about Spurs. This seems like we've got a bunch of players who do not care about this football club, and they don't care if they get relegated. They've got no passion. They've got no commitment. They've got no desire. They've got nothing in them. You can just watch, when you watch them play, you can just tell by the body languages. You can tell by the way they're walking, they're running. There's just no desire. And, and it look, I mean, this, even if Harry Redknapp comes in or whoever comes in, it just doesn't seem like anyone can get these lot sorted. I think they're gone.
Yeah, it's shocking. I want to quickly run through the result, Sid. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the game in full.
I did.
But you did. Brilliant. All right. So obviously probably one of the worst starts. I think it's up there with Newcastle when we went 3-0 down in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So this was the lineup. So Solanke benched, right? Solanke benched. Vicario benched. Conor Gallagher, who's played at that stadium in the Champions League, benched. João Palhinha, who's our best tackler, and believe it or not, the best tackler in the Premier League, found that out today, stats-wise, successful tackles, that is, benched. Javi Simmons, who's the only bit of creativity we've got, benched, right? Radu Dragusin, benched. Okay, that one I think we don't need to talk about because Radu's had an awful comeback to Spurs, recent games. But looking at that subs bench, is there anyone there that you feel was an error? And let's start with the goalkeeper. What do you think? I mean, I think I know the answer to this one, but should Vicario...
As bad as he has been, round 16, you've got to go with somebody who's been playing consistently. You cannot make a player... I mean, remember Kinski? Remember the rumours before where Thomas Frank and his coaching staff said he's not good enough and they're going to get rid of him in the summer. They don't want him. They tried to get rid of him in January. And then to do a U-turn and bring him in, I think he was just trying to make a statement. So that was an error, in my opinion. Palhinha was an error, 100% in my opinion. Simons was an error, in my opinion. Gallagher, I'm not that bothered because he's been pants since we've got him. He's just a passenger. Whether he's going...
But Sid, on Gallagher, considering he knows that pitch, he knows that atmosphere, he knows that crowd. Would this not have
No.
been the game to start him
No.
alongside Polina?
No,
2 6s?
because he's, as far as I'm concerned, from what I've seen of him, he's a passenger. He played right back the other day. He played whatever. Now, go back to that team. Go back one more to the team. The other way. Right. Number 39, I don't know why and how he's starting games. I don't understand it. Tudor must not have him from Juventus and think he's some god player. He's rubbish, right? Tell, I don't know why he got taken off, because he was probably one of the only ones with Archie Gray that actually gave him a bit of a shit and wanted to play, but then he took him off. So some of the decision makings he done. I mean, Archie Gray, Papa Saw in the middle. Saw's had a horrendous season, absolute horrendous. Doesn't know whether he's coming or going. Like you said, Polina in a Champions League game, why are you not starting him as the enforcer in that pitch? Have him with Archie Gray, that's fine. But you have to have Polina in that midfield, mate. Honestly, I don't know what this guy was doing with this line. When I saw this lineup, I was like, what the whatever you want to call it is this guy doing? I couldn't understand it. Richarlison for Solanke, I can understand that. Richarlison gives you a bit more. He wears his shirt on. He wears his heart on his shirt. Solanke for me has just gone missing last couple of games, and even against Palace, he was non-existent. So that I can understand. But Moani, do you know what? I don't know what's going on.
He's got a bit of a, I don't know, a bit of a favourite there, hasn't he, Moani?
Yeah.
Obviously, because Moani's helped him stay up in other teams. So
He frozen.
I mean, Pipes, is this team the team you would have gone for? Can you see it?
We can hear you, but we can see you, Pipes.
Pipes is
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear you. All right. So what? You discussing the lineup against Madrid?
Yep.
Yeah, I can only echo what you were saying. Really, I mean, when I saw the lineup, and I saw the midfield of Sarr and Gray, it was like, what is this guy doing? We're gonna get overrun. And really and truthfully, as I said, I tuned into about 10 minutes of the game. Well, not even 10 minutes. I think I caught the third goal with the Kinski howler, and but to be honest with you, that whole saga, the only issue I have regarding that whole saga was probably Tudor's lack of acknowledgement when he took him off. But to be honest with you, I mean, there's been a lot of sympathy for Kinski, which I'm not really having, to be honest, because if you got anything about yourself, you should be chomping at the bit to get your chance. You get your call up, and you go out there and you perform, and he's not, we're talking, yeah, he's young, but he's 22. He's not that young. We're not talking about a 17, 18-year-old here. So I just thought, to me, maybe I'll be harsh, but I just think his mentality is just very, very weak. And I think, like I said, Tudor, I mean, because let's be honest, he made 2 errors, didn't he? So, he's made the error, the first one, and Tudor's, he's kept him, and then he makes another one. So really and truthfully, you're thinking this guy has collapsed. So I'm not going to blame Tudor for taking him off, but the only issue probably is the lack of, little pat on the back. But again, this is elite sport. Why does everybody need pats on the back? And I mean, you're fucked up. This is dog eat dog out here. You got to show that you're big enough to deal with these things.
Yeah.
So
he's 22 or 23.
The game was what? It was just another shit show, really, wasn't it? And another game where Tottenham wait till the game is gone at 3-4-0, and then suddenly decide they want to engage a bit and probably score. But as Conte said, these players they only play without pressure, So
guys, this slide here, can you guys see this slide? Yeah,
no, it's a shit show. Okay. It's a shit show.
All right, so both the Athletic players are pressing, right? They're pressing Kinski here. Now I know Pep loves it, and a lot of the Spanish guys love it. Or you see it in other leagues.
Has Josh frozen?
About frozen?
No.
I'm all right. Yep. So this screenshot here.
I can hear you, Sid, but I can't hear Josh. Is he talking?
I am talking. Yeah.
I can't hear him. Let me get out and come back in.
Cool.
Perhaps is on that Spursy Wi-Fi again. Yeah, so Sid, you got two players here pressing Kinski, right? And like in the Premier League, we're doing it a lot now. We split the ball at the back. One of the centre backs goes down the left or the right, so Porro or Spence. But here you can see Atletico players are pressing him. So the first thing Kinski's thinking here is, and possibly the right thing, so I'm going to give him some credit here, is to clear it. Pipes, can you hear us?
I can hear you now, yes.
Brilliant, brilliant. Right, so on screen, we've got the first goal, guys. It's 0-0. This is the first slip. Now, those two players are pressing Kinski and the Tottenham centre-backs, Romero and Mickey van der Ven. So Kinski actually does the right thing. He launches the ball, right? Because he doesn't risk it. He doesn't go left,
That's
he doesn't go right.
by the way.
You can see the press.
That's Danso, by the way.
Is it Danso? My bad. Okay, so yeah, Danso and Romero are there to receive the ball. He actually does the right thing. You know, he doesn't put his centre backs under pressure because you can see the high press coming in from Atletico. So he actually clears it. Now, in the press, and I found this out today, is Griezmann himself said after the game that the pitch is dodgy.
Yeah.
Right? We've had problems with it. Barcelona complained after a loss there earlier in the season about the pitch being slippery. In this game, there were Atletico players and Tottenham players that were slipping during the game. There was even one player who slipped before this moment in the first few minutes. So now I've had a chance to look at it back, seeing other stuff online. The pitch was not in the right condition to play football on, as far as I understand it, because a pitch should be wet to the point at which studs don't slip. Now, if they're on blades, then that's a Tottenham problem. That's a player problem. But if they're all in their normal studs, even if they're in their long studs or short studs, that pitch seems like it's not 100% fit for purpose. So do we give him a little bit, and this is just on this goal, do we give him a little bit of sympathy? Because keepers, remember keepers, guys, they smash the ball upfield. So there's a lot of force that goes into those kicks. You know, your standing leg is very important. If that goes, it's gone, and we saw that. So do we blame the pitch 50%?
I tell you what, where my stance is on that. Prior to this kickoff, what did they do? They come out onto the pitch and they have a warm-up and they assess the pitch and he stands in that box and he jumps up and down and he dives and he does that and he does that. Are you telling me in that 15 minutes or 20 minutes when they was on that pitch, not one of them thought this pitch is going to be wet and we're going to slip? Did they not think that and then think, you know what, let's change studs? If you go back to the Bayern Munich game the same night, the first thing Olise does when he gets to that stadium, he walked onto the pitch and he went and checked the pitch out and then he wore boots according to that pitch. Okay, they probably didn't do this because we've got backroom staff that are just absolute fucking shit. These lot should have known this when they done the warm-up before the game. So I am not accepting that. Sorry, the pitch situation. You should have adapted to that pitch. So mistakes that you made, that's on your own back. That's on your own accord. You go out there, you don't check the pitch out when you've been warming up for 15 minutes. That's a you problem. I'm sorry. And also, my last point. If Paulinho's playing, Josh, he's on the edge of that D or he's around there somewhere. Where's Archie Gray and where's Papa Saw? That then it makes it easier for Kinski to just lock it in just outside the box.
Well, the thing is, guys, it's the goal doesn't come just from that kick. The goal comes from this moment here. So the Atletico player there, he's got two Tottenham defenders. And we've been doing this a lot. Since I've been analysing the goals, one thing I've noticed, which is consistent every week,
backing off,
is ball watching.
Yeah.
You know when you're a kid, and the PE teacher, whoever it is, the ref says stop ball watching. It's like a basic error in football, right? You play the game and you play on instinct and you play on risk and reward. You don't watch the game. You don't sit there and spectate. Here, if you guys can see it, both defenders, Danso and I believe that's Romero next to him, they've got themselves in a fairly decent situation in terms of position. We can still prevent this goal. But lack of positional sense, lack of aggression, lack of sort of taking that risk and just watching has actually also led to this goal. So yes, Kinski made the fault, with the miss kick, but it's not entirely his fault because at this point the defenders, as I'm showing you here, are in a position to stop this goal. Pape Sarr is running back, right, and he's ahead of the goal scorer that's got the red arrow, Llorente, but he doesn't have that awareness to think maybe I should take him out of the game. Danso doesn't take out the assist, right? And it's not just Kinski. This goal is put pipes back in. This goal is multiple errors. And I want to make that point because yes, Kinski started the mistake, but there were mistakes after Kinski passed it out wrong, and I'm going to put 30% blame on the defenders because they ball watched. You know, and Atletico scored. They had 3-4 seconds.
Yeah, as you said, it's basically what we've been doing all season. Our players don't engage, they don't close down, they just stand there and follow the ball around. You know, like what you do when you're 7 or 8 years old at school. They just follow the ball around like I don't like they hypnotize. Yeah, they just follow the man with the ball and without tackling. And to be honest with you, that's basic stuff that you shouldn't even really have to be coached to do these things, really, if you're a top-class defender. You're supposed to sense danger, supposed to back up your teammates, and basically close down the space and give the fullest protection you can to your goal. But as we've seen this all season, we are very, very passive out of possession. And it's quite pathetic to watch, actually. You know what I mean? So, but I can only echo Sid's earlier point as well about the pitch. Not having that.
No.
The Madrid keeper didn't slip about. You know, the rest of the Atletico players didn't slip about. It's about preparation. It's, again, that's not even down to the backroom staff. That's a you problem. You do your checks before a game. The pitch is a bit slippy. Let me change my boots. You shouldn't need to be told to do shit like that. Yeah? So these are basic things that our players literally are failing in. And
one of the common things we've let teams do to us this season is score from outside the box.
Yeah.
And we've let in the most goals from outside the box. And again, we back off and watch. Romero's supposed to be world class. Romero's supposed to be that guy that goes in. And look at this screenshot, guys. They're just both players sucked into the whoever got the assist on the day. I don't know who it was, maybe Griezmann. But what's going on? His players got all the time.
But
yeah, he's got all the time.
All Saw is doing is looking at Alvarez. He's not even looked at Llorente once. From that last slide to this slide, it just looks like he's just running, looking at Alvarez and the ball. Totally unaware Llorente's on the right. Totally unaware. He doesn't need to run into there. All he needs to do is look over his right shoulder and follow Llorente. And that goal doesn't count.
The thing is, right, I don't know, I'm sure you guys have played football, right? Even if it wasn't recently, right? One of the main things is that you have your man and you make sure he doesn't get away from you. And if he does get away from you, then you make sure your teammate stops him from progressing. You know, football, there's 11 versus 11. Unless you're a man down, I get it. There's going to be one spare. We keep giving opposition players time and space. How many times have we said on this, and your channel as well, guys, the freedom of the city? We gave it to Harry Wilson. If you remember the 1-2 with Iwobi for that first goal. Yeah. We give the freedom of the pitch to players.
Yeah, every team we played, we've made them look like prime Barcelona. Let's have it right. Yeah, they just pop the ball about around us and we just stand and watch. Like you said, we're passengers. And it's pathetic to watch. And I don't know how it's cured because they've been doing it all season. So to cure it now, it's suddenly in the last 8 games of the season. I don't know. I really don't know.
Is it linked to Frank's style of sitting back a bit? So they've just got used to sort of, you know, not going in and sort of trying to stay compact.
To be honest, Josh, to be honest, they were doing it under Ange as well.
Yeah, goes back to last season.
So what is the reason then? It's just bad coaching then?
I think so. It started with Ange and he's gone on to Frank.
Yeah.
And now he's coming on to Tudor. So these guys are not getting coached properly and they sort of getting used to it and they don't care.
I was going to say the other thing I think it is mental. So as well as the coaching, I think these players are playing without, we know they're all playing without confidence, but they're playing in a very panicky way. And I
Yeah.
think whether it's at the stadium where us fans, whether it was a North London derby or Crystal Palace, and Solanke scores, we're cheering them on. We're trying to give them that confidence. But then when they go and do stupidity like this, how can you expect the away fans to sing? Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, there's the whole debate of the fans need to pull them out. Like West Ham fans will get them through, and I'm sure the Burnley fans got Burnley through, and Wolves fans kept Wolves up, and Stoke or whatever. Yes, we have to sing from the beginning. But then when you're seeing stuff like this, you can't help but naturally just moan, or not moan, but just groan. You know what I mean?
Listen, the fans, and I'm sick of the fans being gaslit this season. The fans have turned up. They turned up against Arsenal. They turned up against Crystal Palace. They are doing their bits to lift these players, and these players still have not responded. Yeah, they still haven't responded. So, I mean, of course, we're going to keep trying to lift them for the remainder 7-8 games that we have, because obviously our survival is at stake. But these players now, they have to put their 2 pence in. Yeah, they've got to respond to the fans and to respond to the atmosphere. Yeah, it's not really it's a two-way thing. And as you said, if the fans are turning up and then play, I mean, even the slipping, as you correctly state, Josh, it's down to rushing and it's desperation play that causes people to slip, because everything's done. Like I say, these players' confidence may be low, and they look like the football pitch is the last place in the world they want to be. So
yeah, this is the Mickey van der Ven one on screen now. So he slips for the second one.
Exactly.
They score from that.
But
as well.
I mean, we're gonna talk about him, because I don't know what you all think, but
let's talk about him, guys. Because look, over here, Papisar, I think it is, wins his header, which is great because he wins that duel, and he actually lays it perfectly into Mickey's path. So he does his job. He runs back as a DM, and he wins that battle, and he puts it in the path of Mickey van der Ven. Mickey van der Ven slips. I mean, this is, like, I'm laughing now, but at the time, it's just like, what is going on? Mickey van der Ven slips, and Griezmann is on goal. Was it Griezmann, Sid? It was, right?
Yeah.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Griezmann's on goal, and then I believe this is Danso. Danso gets spun, right? So you've got Mickey slip, Danso, and I'm going to point this out again. If this is a better defender, does he let Griezmann have this shot? Danso, again, is in a position to defend the shot. He's in front of him. He's got a good angle. He's a strong lad, right? And Griezmann ain't the quickest. What does Griezmann do? Spins him, sells him a dummy. Danso's running back towards the goal. I don't know what he's doing. Kinski's in no man's land, and he slots it in. So again, yes, Van der Ven slipped, but after that, we didn't recover it, guys. And it's just shocking defending as well as recovery play. And you can make a mistake. We'll make mistakes against Liverpool. We be making mistakes every game. But what's your recovery? And a lot of good defenders or good, confident players will recover that situation. We're not even recovering, guys. Look what happens to Danso here. So it's just like, where do we even go from here? Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not even able to recover the situation. And Griezmann's a quality player. Don't get me wrong. He can do that to anyone. But we don't even look close to recovering the situation. So it's just sad to see, because it's just a snowball of errors and mistakes.
like I say, we rush. Everything's a rush. Everything's a desperation. Everything is nervousness. It starts from Vicario and it goes right the way through the team. And as I said earlier, they look like the football pitch, which is supposed to be the sanctuary for most players. It looks like the worst place these players want to be. They don't want to be on the pitch. They don't want to assume any responsibility. They don't want the ball. I mean, every conceivable negative thing that you can apply to a football team in order for them to fail, we're showing these things. We're showing these things, every single one. So I don't know how it's arrested. All I do know, we have to keep rolling the dice to see if it can be arrested. And as I keep going back to, Sid's made the point a couple of weeks ago where throw some of the kids in, something, anything.
Yeah,
because something is done to arrest this slide.
Bit of courage. We need to change something, because we can't just keep playing this dramatic, panicky, Yeah, desperate football. Sid, any comments on this before I move on to the next game? Am I being harsh on Danso or or the keeper?
No, I think I agree with both of you what you said about it. It's still to there, and you've summed it up, mate. There's nothing more we can say about that.
Right, now let's go to the third goal. Now this is the Kinski error, and this one's all on him. This is completely on him. But I want to point out before that goal what happened. So again, the Atletico forwards are pressing us, and they're pressing us all game. And it seems like the playbook against Tottenham at the moment, whether you're Palace or Fulham or Atletico, is press Tottenham. Press them into mistakes. That team loves making mistakes. If you press them, they can't come out of it. So they're pressing us. Now, a confident Spurs or even a confident football team clears this mess up, potentially using the centre back there. Okay, he's getting pressed. If you've got a confident player, he turns and puts it down the line. But because we're not confident, we keep going back to the goalie. Now, the goalie's just made an error. The last thing you want to do is put that man under pressure, as far as I'm concerned, because you're 2-0 down and it's 14 minutes and 49 seconds. Stop going back to the goalkeeper. Let him have at least a half where he settles into the game. They go back to the keeper, and sometimes you have to go back to the keeper. So in this case, they decide to go back to the keeper, and everyone's seeing it. Again, the Atletico players just keep pressing and pressing. Now, if Atletico players don't press there and they give up the press because it's going back to the keeper, a lot of players would say, you know what, it's going back to the keeper. It's 1 in 100 times a keeper doesn't clear it or makes a mistake, or 1 in 1,000. But what do the Atletico players do? What does Alvarez do? He keeps running towards Kinski. He smells blood. He knows the guy's shaking. He knows the guy's made a mistake. He knows the guy's young, and this is his Champions League debut. He presses into him, and then obviously the rest is just a joke. Kinski, who has time, and I've frozen the screenshot, he has time to take a touch and then pass it out, but he goes for the first time touch. He obviously slips, and the guy runs into an open goal. But yeah, it's just again the high press causing panic defending, defenders going back to the keeper being in a state of emergency, and he's already slipped once. So is this this is not forgivable, surely. If you've slipped once, surely the second time the ball comes to your feet, do you know what I mean? You take a bit more care. So any comments on this, guys? I mean,
he should have, in my opinion, when the ball's played to him, he should have just lofted it forward. He doesn't need to do what he's tried to do. All right, he's tried to be clever. First touch, like you said, he could have taken a touch or whatever, yeah? Romero could have come across a little bit more. Danso could have gone across a little bit more. But first and foremost, I think if he was just what you said, that he's been under pressure, he's just made a howler, just boot the ball straight up, back up. Just boot it back up. Simple. Don't try and do what you tried to do. Just boot the ball straight up to the top and try and get one of your players to get the ball.
Guys, can we actually even blame the man? We can blame him for the selection, but in isolation for this, is it all blame has to surely be on Kinski? I mean, is there anything we can help him out here and say, he was under pressure, or he shouldn't even,
He's like I said earlier, he's not 17, 8, he's 22. He's made the first error. To make the second error, in my book, I don't think he's given the manager any choice to hook him. But the only issue that people contend is maybe Tudor could have shown a bit more compassion when he did it. But I remember watching it because, like I said, that was the portion of the game. I only saw that little 5-6 minute spell there, and I watched it. And he's made the mistake, and he's on his knees, and he looked completely crestfallen.
Yeah.
So I think Tudor was kind of right because he looked like all right, the game's just gone from him. He's gone. His head's gone. He's made 2 errors. Definitely. And it could have been basically, they would have just peppered him relentlessly after that. So I think Tudor was, if you really remove the emotion away from it, he was right to hook him, really. But it's just a case of, could he have showed a bit more, a bit more human compassion on his human side? But again, this is not, we're not social workers here. We're not playing, in a local park. You're a top professional footballer. So, how many little hugs and kisses and, there, you'll be all right. Do you need? You fucked up. So you should be made to feel that you fucked up. and then that should, if anything about you, it should actually make you stronger.
It should grow from it. You should grow from it. I mean, Karius was the other goalkeeper that comes to mind for Liverpool that made a couple of mistakes. And, we never saw him again, to be fair, really. So maybe he just wasn't good enough. And if you're not good enough, you get found out, don't you, on the big stage?
I can tell you, sorry, just to be quickly, obviously, that was my position in another life. So it is a very isolated position. If you make a mistake, it tends to lead to a goal. So it can, if your manager does drop you, or it can crush you. But it depends on the character as well. It can actually go the other way and make you right. You know what I mean? But it is a very specialized position, and it requires specialist management. If you could drop an outfield player, it's not as damaging. But you drop a keeper or you sub him off, it can be very damaging. But again, Tudor is here for 5 minutes. That ain't really his concern. Let's be honest. So, I think Kinski really has to own that one.
So, again, mistake after mistake. So this is the third goal. So the cross comes in. Pape Sarr actually headers it back towards...
Forest have just lost, by the way.
Say again?
Forest have lost the first leg at home.
Forest have lost, yeah, okay. That's good. Hopefully that puts pressure on them. So Pape Sarr heads it backwards into Vicaria. Vicaria actually makes a decent save from that header, that which would have been an own goal. So it's just like, you see other defenders and players with confidence, they're clearing that. Pape Sarr heads it back in towards goal, and then it rebounds off. Vicaria saves it, rebounds around, and then obviously they get the goal. But it's just highlighting mistakes, guys. You know what I mean? I'm just highlighting these mistakes because it's literally like, what's his name? Igor said it, didn't he? He said, we don't have any luck at the moment. Everything we're doing is going against us. But I would argue Pape Sarr there can win that header. Do you know what I mean? If he jumps higher or stronger or times his jump better, he headers that way. So you do make your own luck. Do you know what I mean? You can't just keep blaming luck, saying, oh, it's all against us. Everyone hates us. The world hates us. These are mistakes by players, clear mistakes. So I'm sorry, it's not luck. It's lack of focus. It's lack of concentration. And yeah, it's just mistake after mistake. Now, one thing I will say is, I don't know about you guys, but second half, I thought we showed some fight. And I know we've been doing that this season with Man City. And I know we've done it a few times this season. But I'm not saying it's great, covers over the cracks. But I thought the second half, they did show a response. And I thought we were the better team. And if Richarlison scores that header, you're gone.
Josh, sorry to interrupt, but how many times have we done that this season?
Yeah.
The game's gone. The team opposition, they take their foot off the gas, and we're supposed to get excited because we've made a little fist of it in a second. It's easy to play when you're 3-4-0 down. Yeah, I'm not entertaining this. I mean, I've seen a few fans they say the same online. I'm not entertaining it. You know what I mean? Stop going behind 2 and 3-0. The game's dead. Yeah.
I mean, even here, guys, on screen, you can see Pape Sarr then loses the second header. So it's another duel that he loses, and we're just losing all our duels. We're losing a lot of our duels. We're losing a lot of our important duels. We're not losing every duel.
When the game is tight, yeah, and when the game's gone, suddenly they win a few duels and they want to look like they're engaged, but the game's gone at 4-0.
Yeah.
Another
thing, chaps. I noticed on the day that we were getting destroyed down the wings. Most teams have been destroying us down the wings. It was no different in this game. The 3 at the back system, I'm not a fan of it. Porro, 3 at the back. People say, yeah, Porro's better at 3 at the back because Porro then has someone behind him. Well, this is a clear example of a chance which they didn't score from, but it would have made it 4-0, that is. 4-1. So here you can see Spence is squared up, the overlapping run there, and you're expecting Tottenham players to have learnt their lesson from previous games or even from this game, but Griezmann kept getting down the wing. Their players, Lookman kept getting down the wing. This is just a classic example how they kept getting down the wing. And I just wanted to. This is just one screenshot. I could have put 3 or 4 up, but again, exposed down the wings and inviting pressure and crosses. I don't know if you guys remember this one. It goes across the box, And there you can see the Atletico player, freedom of the world, freedom of Madrid. You know, again, lack of position, lack of awareness, lack of knowing who your man is, taking responsibility. And I blame Igor for the coaching that they're doing, because obviously these players don't know that they're even being coached at the moment. But they also individually have to take responsibility for what they do on the pitch. And look at this, you know, this should have been 4. This should have been 4-1. So yeah, it's just shocking, man. The positional sense and the opportunities we're giving other teams. We're giving other teams really good opportunities to score. And this one he didn't score from. But you can see that red line. The ball comes in. And look, there's another player chilling on his own. Just chilling, waiting for the ball. You know? I don't know what's going on with this team, man. It's just, I'm watching this football thinking there's no shape, there's no organization, there's no commitment, there's no awareness, there's no, you know, there's no shape, there's no nothing, man. I mean, Sam would probably have a field day with this being a coach.
It's just madness. Look at how many players we've got. Spence and Gray are just watching Porro. Richarlison's talking to the referee. And you got Van der Ven, Danso and Romero marking Griezmann with 3 players behind them. It's comical,
isn't it? I mean, how do you eliminate such basic errors from these players for the remainder of the season? They've been doing it, as we've all said, for nearly 2 years. You know,
it's madness. Look at it.
It's comical.
Comical, absolutely comical. Look at that. It's madness.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Now, this is the Richarlison header, chaps. Yeah, so Richarlison has a point blank header. He's got to score, right? A yard left to right, and that goes in. I mean, if you showed that position to most strikers and said you've got a cross coming in, and if you show that to half the strikers in the Premier League, that is food and drink, right? That is food and drink. And Richarlison, to be fair, scores with his head quite a bit. You know, he manages to get on the end of things, right? So this goes in and it's 4-2. But we know what happens, chaps. It doesn't go in. The keeper saves it. Atletico on the counter-attack. You've got Griezmann, Lookman on the left there. You've got Llorente. And Spence here is behind Griezmann. So he's got his man. You've got Porro at the top there running back. Now, people were saying the next day that Porro should have closed him down because he had the head start. If you look from this screenshot, Porro has a good 10 yards on the goal scorer. But Porro, I think, gives up.
He does give up. He gives up. He stops running. He stops running.
Again there, Sid, you can see Spence is busting a gut to get back. And I want to give credit to Spence because he actually busts his lungs out to get back. But Porro is not giving it 100%. I think he's going there. He's thinking he's going to get it. But he's not putting in 110%, let alone 100. So this player now runs past Spence. Spence is doing his best, but Spence has been committed with Griezmann. So you can give Spence a little bit of leeway for that because he's got his man. This guy's running straight through. Porro, even at this point, Sid and Pipes, you can see Porro is level now. Porro's not slow. Porro is pretty quick. He overtakes Porro.
That's where he gives up.
He gives up. That's where he gives up. He's 1-on-1 with the keeper. Now, I've put an arrow there for Vicario. Vicario for me needs to come out and dominate that square. The better keepers intimidate. They intimidate. And this guy just sits there, feet planted, shaking like a leaf, hoping the guy misses his shot. And I wanted to point this out because whilst we can blame Porro for giving up, Spence maybe for not getting in a last-ditch tackle, this is one of the reasons Vicario is not good enough because he just sits there, feet grounded, stuck in the mud. At that point, you've got to dominate the space in front of you. And you can see from here, guys, Spence, credit to Spence, he actually nearly gets a tackle in. He's overtaken Porro. Porro had a head start on him. I don't know if he's quicker than Porro, but I don't think he is. I think they're probably similar. But he nearly gets the last-minute Mickey van der Ven style tackle in. But look at Vicario.
Still stuck there.
Does he look intimidating? I mean, his hands are by his knees. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not a goalkeeper. You got a Pipes. You say you've been a goalkeeper.
Nah, that's poor. That's poor.
So I wanted to make these points because I feel like Porro there, maybe he's just come back from injury. He's like, I don't want to bust it.
No.
I don't want to injure myself. You know, I don't want to give 100% to the cause. And Vicario there is letting us down again. You know, whilst he makes those saves, this is where he's crap with his positioning. And everyone says, yeah, he's a good shot stopper. He's a good stopper. He is if the ball's, if someone takes a shot. But one-on-one, I don't think he's great. I think he's average.
100%.
One-on-one.
To be honest with you, Josh, when I hear that term, again, that winds me up because by definition, all goalkeepers should be good shot stoppers, or there's no point in being in goal. So that term has always baffled me. But you're spot on what you're saying. But Vicario he has no presence in the goal. He has no presence in the goal. So forget him at one-on-ones. Forget him at corners and crosses. Yeah, like people say, he doesn't go to church often because he can't deal with the crosses. So he's just, as I've always maintained, he's a number 2 at best, really and truthfully. You know, he's not a very good keeper. And but he's just one of many issues. But obviously, as a keeper, you know, you're the base of the team. So everything stems from your goalkeeper. And if your goalkeeper's poor, if he's nervous, all of that is going to transmit to the rest of the team. So,
guys, this is the Van der Ven red. This is the Van der Ven red card versus Crystal Palace, yeah, from last week. So Van der Ven cocks up. He then tries to recover the ball by pulling back Sarr, and then obviously gives her the penalty. But again, I'm going to point this out on Vicario. Those Vicario fans out there, you can like a player for maybe his personality, but when it comes to performance, you can't be biased. You can't like him because what you know, the country he plays for, or the way he looks, or the way he speaks. You've got to judge him based on what you see on match day. And again, Vicario is watching. Now, if you've got a one-on-one and Sarr beats Van der Ven here, and then obviously Van der Ven pulls him down, but we can see here that Vicario is just stood on his line again. Now, again, I'm not a goalkeeper. I'm not a professional coach of it by any means. But the better goalkeepers intimidate you and put you off, and they're aggressive. And I don't see any aggression from Vicario. All I see is yap, yap, yap after the ball's gone in. All I see him is yapping away to everyone else. But someone needs to have a word with him. And I don't know who our goalkeeping coach is, but come on, man. These are basics. The goalkeeper should be rushing out to put him off. Now, if he rushes out and he fouls him and gives away a penalty, okay, cool. That's a penalty. That's a mistake on the goalkeeper. We've seen goalkeepers rush out and bring the man down. But at least they rush out. At least they try to put you off. At least they try to put you left or right.
Narrow the angle, aren't you? You've got to narrow the angle. You'll be on the forward as quick as possible, so you don't give him anything to shoot at. And that probably was the reason. But I mean, to be fair, Van der Ven, though, and I'm sure we're going to discuss him. I mean, he could have challenged my guy in any other way. Why he's opted to yank him back like that? Well, and then you see his tackle in the Madrid game now, where, quite frankly, this guy he looks like he wants to get set off at every opportunity, because he's one of the ones, as people are saying, and as I believe, has down tools in the club. Doesn't want to be playing anymore for this football club. So his head is just gone from this club.
Yeah, he's making mistakes, guys. This is the Crystal, that goal where he brings down Sarr. This is the moment before Sarr gets through. So at this point, on this slide here, if you guys can see this, it's a nice. Listen, Van der Ven's got his man, the goal scorer. He can see him. Danso has got his man. Right? There's no danger there in terms of marking. Right? Both players have their men. The guy on the ball, he's got the freedom of North London. Again, no pressing, ball watching. 3 players ball watching, saying, what have you got? Do you know what I've got, mate? I've got a lovely through ball. I'm going to pass it to my mate, Strand Larsen, who's actually pointing where I should put it. He puts it into Strand Larsen. What does Strand Larsen do? He flicks it onto Sarr. Now, at this point, Danso still has his man in front of him, and Van der Ven has the goal scorer in front of him, where you'd want him as a defender. What does Van der Ven do? And this is where I think Van der Ven has lost his head. The guy has lost his head. He looks like a rabbit in headlights. What he does here is he slices the ball, chaps, and he puts the ball in the direction of Strand Larsen. Yeah, he slices the ball. A clearance, a normal clearance, he slices the ball. And then obviously from there, it's just more comedy. Now, at this point, not only does he slice the ball, it loops up in the air. Danso has Strand Larsen on his back. The guy's got his hands on his back. It's not a foul. This is what defending is about. You're going to have some contact in defending. Of course you are. Danso doesn't win his header. How many times do we say in football, you've got to win your headers, your first duels, your battles, your first balls, you've got to win them. He doesn't win it. Strand Larsen heads it perfectly into Sarr, and Sarr then obviously gets fouled by Mickey van der Ven. Vicario doesn't come out. But my point is, there's so many mistakes leading up to each goal that could be and should be nullified at the source. You know what I mean? It should be nullified at the source, but these are multiple errors leading to goals. And it's not just on the last final moment of blaming the last guy. These faults are, organic from the beginning. And this is another example, and I know we didn't do a show after Palace, but I had these slides ready anyways. This is Matthias Tell with the ball at his feet, guys, yeah? This is the second goal of Palace. He has a simple pass back to... Is that Spence? I think it's Spence there. He has a simple pass, but why does he go for the pass towards Pape Sarr? Fine, risk and reward. He passes it around Wharton and into Pape Sarr. Pape Sarr is ahead of his man. There's no reason Pape Sarr should not get that ball and lay it off. In fact, Tell tries to do a 1-2 with him. And this is what confident teams do. They pass around you. We see Man City doing these passes all the time. When it goes into Pape Sarr, guess who loses their duel? Pape Sarr loses his duel, right? The Palace guy was behind him. Look, he's right. He's there behind him. He's got no pressure, but he loses his duel. And at that point, Tell's off because he's expecting the 1-2. Pape Sarr could have gone to Tell. He could have gone back to Mickey. He could have gone to Spence. He could have just blasted it up the pitch, but he loses his duel. So my point is, guys, the source of our mistakes are us losing duels. They're not necessarily to do with just strategy and shape and crazy clever things on the pitch. They're just to do with losing the fight. The fight, the battle, the little battles. The battles where a stronger Moussa Dembele, don't let that happen to him. Do you know what I mean? Or a confident player, don't let that happen to him. And then obviously from here, Wharton gets the ball, Sarr's on the floor looking at it, and now it's 2-on-2. And we know what happens here. Danso gets committed. Mickey van der Ven gets Mickey's still on the pitch. No, is he on the pitch? No, he's off the pitch. So Danso gets committed. Spence tries his best to stop Wharton, but Wharton puts in a lovely through ball. But again, guys, look at the freedom of these players. I mean, it is just literally moment after moment of errors, and then he toes it in. And another example here, guys, of Vicario not coming out to close his man down. Again, what is Vicario doing there, guys? Look at him. He's got the ball. He's got the right hand of his goal wide open, so he hasn't even narrowed the angle where most players would shoot. Most players always take the corner, the furthest corner, because it's easier because you're near post. But look at the position of Vicario. No aggression, and mate, he just slips it in. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's sick to see, man. And this is why I think he was dropped, because they saw it at the lodge after the game. Igor Tudor saw the lack of aggression from Vicario. He probably saw him going yap afterwards. He probably heard him yapping all the way home. And the next day he went, you know what? You're not the kind of aggressive keeper that I want. I don't want you in the team. So he's obviously gone and relied on Kingsley. But this was, for me, the reason Vicario was dropped, because he doesn't show aggression. He doesn't intimidate. He's crap at corners and he's crap at distribution.
All that's correct. But I think I have to revert back to probably Sid's point earlier, where is it the right time to make a call like that? I mean, have you done it to kind of make yourself look big and look, I've dropped the keeper, I'm going to make a call? Because he couldn't have known much about Kingsley, really. He's only been there 5 minutes, Tudor. So as poor as Vicario is, to make that call, when, to be honest with you, there are other issues in the team, it was a big call for him to make. And really, it's obviously it backfired. But, yeah. And on that note, I'm going to have to depart, fellas, because I've got...
No worries, man. See you later, Pipes.
So listen.
Yeah. I got to go in 5 as well, Josh, yeah?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Let's finish off. I mean, look, there's another example here, Sid. This is the Palace game. again, players not pressing, players not aggressively closing down their men, just letting Crystal Palace run for us. And again, Vicario, and I put the box there, Vicario needs to dominate the penalty spot, but he stands, and just watches.
That's what he does all the time.
So, you know, it's the board. When we signed Vicario, we were in for Raya that summer. I think there was a £10 million difference in the valuation from Brentford to what Levy was willing to offer. He went to Arsenal. We could have paid the wages because I believe it was about 120k. I believe it was 40 mil or in and around 40 mil. And he was a freebie in the summer that season.
Yeah.
And Brentford wanted 40 mil for him. But look at the difference David Raya's made to Arsenal.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Yes, he's got Saliba and obviously Gabriel in front of him, who are good defenders, but he doesn't make these mistakes. I know he's made a couple this season. Every keeper makes a couple of mistakes, but Raya or a decent Alisson or Donnarumma, they make it difficult for players to score. Vicario doesn't make it difficult; just stands and watches, and it's just another problem we've got at the club, and it's lack of quality, isn't it? We signed a guy on 70 grand a week. Vicario's on 70 grand a week. We got Kinski, who's on 25k a week, and he's 21. When we signed him, he was just a youngster, and he should have gone out on loan. But we sign average players, right? These guys went and signed Raya, Premier League proven. We went and signed this bloke from Italy, Don Paratici. So it's just, you know, when people talk about signings and then you see stuff like this, it makes you realize why you shouldn't piss around with goalkeepers. Don't piss around with your goalkeeper. You know, Hugo was decent, but then obviously Hugo, you know, had to move on because of age and, you know, time was up. But I'm putting Vicario out there to anyone who's watching this. Vicario is not good enough. If anyone thinks he is, please watch this back and tell me why Vicario is good enough, and I'll listen. But these are basic mistakes from our goalkeeper. And to add to it, we've got another goalkeeper who obviously is making mistakes in Kinski. But, you know, onwards and upwards, as they say, Sid.
Yeah, I think with Vicario, I think he already knows, doesn't he, that he's gone at the end of the season. So he's obviously said he wants to leave because he knows that whoever comes in, he ain't going to be number one. So he's already opening the doors for wherever he wants to go, back to Italy. They're all after him. So good luck to him, to be fair.
Yeah, listen, we need to replace him. We need to get a Premier League keeper in and fix that position, because that position cannot be. Mistakes in the goalkeeping area are usually fatal in the terms of goals, or they are. They literally lead to goals, don't they? It's like a striker missing a penalty. That's the same thing. I look at a goalkeeper making a mistake. But yeah, Sid, if you need to shoot, mate. I was just putting up the teams here, the fixtures here for the next sort of 4 or 5 weeks. So obviously we've got Liverpool, Fulham. Forest have got Fulham at home. I think that's going to be 3 points to Forest. West Ham have got Man City. Now Man City are 3-0 down in the Champions League. So Man City, possibly, do they rest their stars to try and stay in the Champions League?
I can't see them pulling back 3-0. I think they've got to put in a decent. I mean, their reserves is not poor reserves, are they? So I think he'll put a good side out. He will put a good side out.
I hope he does, mate. Because if West Ham win that, and obviously Nottingham Forest beat Fulham at home, and we lose to Liverpool, then I believe, well, then we're in 18th, aren't we?
Yep, that's all, folks. See you later.
And then if Forest, when they do come to Spurs the following week, which is before the international break of 3 weeks, if Forest do beat us, I think they'll go about 5 points ahead of us. This is on us losing to Liverpool and losing to Forest. If Forest beat Fulham and they beat Spurs, they'll go 5 points ahead of us. So now, I mean, you've got 4 games left, 5 games left, and you need them to lose one and draw one, whilst we win all our games. So this, for me, is where we get relegated. The next 2-3 games.
Yeah, I said Forest game massive.
Yeah, Forest is.
did.
Well, we said that about Palace, didn't we? We said that about flipping West Ham, and when West Ham were looking like they were going to get relegated, they came to White Hart Lane and we gave them 3 points. So it's just, I mean, anyone out there thinking we might not, Tottenham, how can Tottenham get relegated? We're too big to go down, and our players are too good or whatever. Just look at that. Forest have an easy fixture this weekend in Fulham at home.
It's not really easy, but
you know what I mean, as in it's winnable.
West Ham went to Fulham and beat them, so you know what, Forest at home. It depends what Fulham turns up, and if Fulham want to do them a favour and not doing us any favours, they could put a weakened team out on purpose if they wanted to.
And another thing to mention here is, if you look at the league table for the last 10 games, so this is the last 10 games. If you look at the league table, Spurs are bottom.
Yeah, I know.
We're bottom of the league table for the last 10 games, which is probably not a surprise to anyone because we've lost 6, including obviously the Champions League. But Spurs are bottom of the 10. Look where West Ham are, Sid. West Ham are 11th.
Yeah, no. But West Ham have got players
West Ham are playing better than Brighton, Sunderland, Fulham, Newcastle, Villa. Villa been in free fall. I know Villa been in free fall, that's their problem. But West Ham, who when they came to White Hart Lane, were on the brink of relegation.
I know.
I mean, there was chat of us sending down West Ham, and West Ham are 11th in the last 10 games.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And Nuno's got a chance of relegating both his ex-clubs, obviously
it's great,
Spurs
and
Nottingham Forest. But yeah, it is what it is. But before you go, mate, any predictions? Are we going to get these 3 wins? Do you think we're going down? Do you think? I know it's early to say because we've still got.
I can't see a win.
9 games.
I can't see a win anywhere. To be fair, I don't know what's going on. Obviously, the international break's going to be massive because they reckon Bergwijn, Kudus, Bentancur potentially all could come back, but might be too little, too late by then.
So the game that Kudus, Bergwijn, Kulusevski come back for is
Kulu's not coming back, man. Forget Kulu.
Well, this is what the media is saying. So this is whatever's coming out of the club. So let's just put Kulu on the side because Kulu might not be back. Yeah, you're right. He probably won't be back this season. But for Sunderland, we've got Kudus back, Ben Davies back.
Davies is out for the season. I don't know where they come.
All right, cool.
Yeah. I don't know where they got that from.
I'm getting this from the injuries website. So Lucas Bergwijn is back. Kudus is back.
Yeah.
And Kulusevski will put a question mark.
Potentially Bentancur could be back as well for Sunderland game. That's what they're saying.
Bentancur could be back for Sunderland or Brighton up at the moment, just on what I've seen online. So really then, if this weekend don't go for us and we do lose to Liverpool, Nottingham Forest do beat Fulham, and somehow Man City start the kids and West Ham get a result, that not only hands the title to Arsenal, which just adds to all the other misery we're going through as Spurs fans. We've then got to beat Sunderland, Brighton, and who's after Brighton? Is it Villa?
Wolves.
So we've got to beat Sunderland, Brighton, and Wolves away. Wolves away, who have beaten Arsenal and Liverpool recently. And then we've got to go to Villa Park. I mean, we haven't won there since that 4-0 or whatever it was.
Yep.
And Villa need the points for obviously top 4. So I think, this is my view, shoot me if you want. I think if we don't beat Forest, we're relegated.
Yeah.
I think if we don't beat Forest, we're relegated. All these other fixtures and that. Yes, West Ham have got, Man City and Villa and whatnot, but I just think I think it's all on Forest, isn't it? So
yeah,
let's see what happens, mate. If you need to shoot, mate, head off.
I will.
Thanks for coming on.
No worries.
I'll see you on the next one.
All right, mate, take it easy.
I'll keep going for another few minutes. See you later, Sid. So, right. So these are the fixtures. So we've got, as I'm sure you guys can see here, we've got obviously Liverpool away. Forest have just lost in the Europa League, is what I'm being told. So that's a good thing because they'll need to win next week's game away. So that's a bit of pressure on them. Maybe they rest a couple of players or whatever. West Ham have got Man City. That's the one I worry about, because Man City may play the B team, and West Ham, if they nick a draw, Man City won't care, because Man City will want to beat Real Madrid. Well, not just beat them, but batter them 3 or 4-0 next week. So yeah, this is the picture. But yeah, we could lose to Liverpool. Forest could beat Fulham, and West Ham could get a draw up to Man City, or even beat Man City. And yeah, we can then win 3 in a row, beat Sunderland, beat Brighton, beat Wolves, and then suddenly we're not in a relegation battle. But the problem is, everything I've shown, with the effort the players are making, with the duels that we're not winning, with the lack of aggression, with the lack of spatial awareness, with the lack of knowing what the left hand's doing and the right hand's doing, we already look like a relegated side, if you ask me. We already look like we're relegated, and we're playing like a relegated side. We're at the bottom of the form table, where now this is a slide. This slide's interesting. So chances created is XG, which is basically your chances created on the opposition's goal. So how many chances are we creating? Now we're on 1.29, but look at Nottingham Forest and look at Leeds. They're actually creating more chances than Spurs, and that's not surprising, because the eye test will tell you that Spurs are not creating enough chances, but they're actually creating more than us. So if you're a betting man, why would you bet on Tottenham to survive if they are not creating as much as Forest and Leeds? Forest are the 9th best team in the league at creating chances. Leeds are the 12th best team. Now, down the bottom, just below us, in 17th, is West Ham. West Ham have been very clinical. So West Ham are not creating as many chances as Tottenham, but these are stats, and these are seasonal stats. So when you look at these stats, these are not just the last 5 games. It's not when Nuno's been in charge. Everyone knows, anyone that's watching West Ham knows that West Ham are actually playing better. Right, a couple of comments. Evening panel, we can beat Atletico, get to the UCL, and get 40 points. We are getting the draw. We're getting a draw to Liverpool and then going on a run. Mate, I hope you're right, Aussie Ange. I don't see it, man. And don't put money on it. I don't want you to lose money. Do not put money on that. You'll get some great odds on that, but I don't see it. I just don't see us. Atletico's done. Atletico's done. Just forget about that game. Yes, we could get the first goal, and then it's 5-3. We need an Ajax. We need an Ajax performance on the home leg to Atletico. That's what we need. And Simeone knows how to defend. He'll have his team set up to defend. Hopefully we can, I don't know, do something to the pitch and make them slip, or do something to their boots. Aussie Ange again. Ange could come home. Yes, Ange was asked this week, yesterday, I think, would you like to go back to Spurs? Would you go back to Spurs? And he said no comment. Now, on the Overlap show with Gary Neville and Roy Keane and those guys, he said I would not go back. But when he was asked in the last 24 hours, he said no comment. So there's no comment. I'm talking to them. Is no comment yes. There's no comment. I'm not going to say no. So I'm not going to rule myself out, but I'm not going to say yes. I'm going to sit on the fence. For me, I'm just sitting on the fence. If someone says to you, would you go back to Spurs? And you say no comment to save them, then for me, you're leaving the door open. And obviously the insurance is that if you don't get the call, then you don't look like you're trying to get the job. So, you keep your self-respect. But chances created, West Ham are clinical. Spurs are 15th. We are creating chances. We're creating more chances than Brentford. We're creating more chances than Sunderland. But this is a seasonal table. I couldn't get the last 5-10 games. But if I'm guessing here, in the last 5-10 games, Spurs are probably bottom of the table or near the bottom of the table for creating chances. Just going off the eye test. Nottingham Forest are up there. Injuries, we've got the worst. Tottenham have got 11. Nottingham Forest have got 5. West Ham have got 3. Leeds are down the bottom with 1. So we've got that disadvantage where we can't bring players off the bench. These are the players that are coming back. This is just over the next, this is up to Brighton. So Polina, he's got a head injury. So is Romero. I've put them both in there for now, but there isn't 100% confirmation that they're both going to miss the game. But the rules say that if you get a head injury, I believe it's a week that you have to stay out. So in the Premier League, I've checked this. The rules are that if you do have concussion, then you cannot play for 7 days. It's just a safety procedure because obviously, head injuries are like serious. You get brain issues and, you don't want to risk it. So those two could be out. Mickey van der Ven is suspended because of the red card. Destiny Odogwu is also out. Kudus is out. Ben Davies is out. Lucas Berger is out. Kulusevski's out. Bentancur's out. Maddison's out. So these are all the players missing. So you've got there your best in Mickey van der Ven and Romero. You've got your best centre backs. In Paulinho, you've got probably your best 6. In Odogwu, you've got your best left back. In Kudus, you've got your best creator or right-sided winger attacker. In Kulusevski, you've got a very decent player out. In Bentancur, you've got another 6 out. Maddison, you've got your number 10 out. Real difficult times at Tottenham at the moment with availability. And on the right there, you can see the fixtures: Liverpool, Atletico, Forest, Sunderland. So yeah, it's pretty bad. Most crosses in the Premier League, Kudus and Porro are best crosses. And not only are they our best crosses for Tottenham, but they are up there in the Premier League in the top 10 for crosses this season. So we are missing our width in Kudus and Porro. And Porro showed that against Atletico with his crossing ability, the cross into Richarlison, which he should have scored the header. And obviously the width that he gave us and the goal that he scored. So we're missing width with Porro and with Kudus. We're missing Odegaard, who's at the bottom of this list because he's out for the season. We've got no width. We've got Tell. Brennan Johnson got sold, which was probably an error in hindsight. And we've only got Tell on the left for width. On the right, we've got no width. We've got Muani, who's not a winger. He's more of a striker. So we're missing Kudus. Kudus is the second best dribbler in the Premier League. We've got the second best dribbler in the Premier League, and we're missing him. And we've missed him for so many games. So this is what we're missing. And this, we're in a relegation battle, so we're just going to have to get by. But this is what we're missing. We're missing Mohamed Kudus, a proper dribbler, a successful dribbler. He's up there with Doku and Saka and, other decent players. Most through balls, Tottenham don't have anyone in there. Maddison's out. And yeah, pretty much screwed on the injury front and suspensions with red cards. But I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we can go to Liverpool and somehow, through a miracle, get a point. We're not going to win. I don't think anyone thinks we're going to win at Liverpool. But if we can get a point, just gives us confidence. Liverpool are not playing well. So this is the time to go and get a point from Liverpool. They're just not playing well at the moment. I've got a good friend who's a Liverpool fan, and he's saying to me that we're actually getting better results than we're playing. He's like, Liverpool are getting better results than what we're playing. So this is the time to get a point to Liverpool. I would have sacked Igor after the game or the following morning, and I would have got in the manager now, because then he could maybe give us that manager bounce going into Liverpool. And Liverpool are not playing well. So this is the time to go beat Liverpool. It's very possible on the basis that Liverpool are not playing well. And then we could, with that new manager in, obviously it gives the manager a full week to plan for Nottingham Forest, which is El Sacico, isn't it? Or El flipping relegation. That is the 6-pointer. So yeah, I think the club have made a mistake. They should have sacked him in the morning, got in the new manager, and given us a manager bounce for Liverpool. This slide here is the state of affairs. This is the whole season from Burnley at home down to obviously Crystal Palace last week. And you can just see the free fall from about Chelsea. Chelsea did it to us the season before with the Ange game, with the "it is who we are, mate," with the high line and all the 3 sending offs. But since Chelsea at home, again, Tottenham have gone into free fall. I mean, a Chelsea fan saw this, he'd be loving it. Great timing. We always stick it in when it comes to Spurs. But since Chelsea, and that is the 1st of November, Tottenham Hotspur have been in freefall. So this is not just a 5-game issue or a 2026 issue. This is an issue from Halloween. Literally, it's been Halloween since then, non-stop. It's been scary. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the green line, and below it, it's just red, 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 red. Yeah, we beat Brentford, and yeah, we beat Palace. But then look, red, 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 draws, draws, draws. It's just absolutely shocking. And this club is staring straight into relegation. The form here is just disgusting. This form is disgusting. I mean, that is just look at the Reds. The only thing that's made us feel like maybe we're not losing as much as the Champions League results. You know, against Borussia Dortmund, where they got a man sent off, or against Frankfurt, or against Copenhagen. Yeah, those results make us feel like yes, but you know, Frank's going to get it right. But you know, if you look at the Premier League form, it's since November the 1st, Tottenham Hotspur have been in free fall. So the board, you know, maybe they should have sacked him around like when we lost to Chelsea, and then we drew to Man United, we lost to Arsenal, we lost to Fulham, and then we drew to Newcastle. Maybe they wanted to give him the Brentford result to see if he can beat his old club. He did. We won 2-0 at home. Nottingham Forest beat us. Liverpool beat us. So at that point, and I'm talking around mid-October, mid-December, that's when the board should have looked at this table, and anyone, you know, could have looked at that table and said, guys, Thomas Frank is not doing the job. Now, that whether that's because he's crap or because the players don't like him or injuries, he's not producing the results. We're in a results-based business. Let's get that right. You know, we are not in a business of let's see what happens. You know, we've got a wild card up our sleeve that, you know, we can't get relegated because we've got a special wild card that the Premier League, you know, because we've been here so long. When you look at those results, when it started going free fall in the middle of December, towards the end of December, you can see there, the beginning of Jan, why did Thomas Frank get all those games in January? Why did he get Brentford again? Why did he get Sunderland? Why did he get Bournemouth? Why did he get West Ham? So these are questions that have to be asked. These are questions that have to be asked, because if we do get relegated, trust me, these questions will be asked. People will look back at these results and say, at what point did Thomas Frank's job become untenable? And I believe it was around November, December, because you could see the free fall. And if you don't sort of jump out the parachute early, then you're going to crash. And we should have got rid of Frank. I mean, look at this. Look at this green line. It is just, I mean, you know, there's nothing there. There's nothing where you can say, yeah, look, you know, we're pulling it back. You know, it's just shocking. So that's where we are. Let's hope we get a result away to Liverpool. I don't think we will, but we can hope and pray. Let's hope that the concussion with Romero and Palhinha is not as bad as some are saying it is, and hopefully somehow we can have them available for Liverpool on the weekend. And let's hope some of these injured players can get back quicker and better than what it says here. Let's hope Kudus can make a surprise appearance for Nottingham Forest at home. Let's hope Lucas Bergwall, as per Sid's comments, can be available for Nottingham Forest. Let's hope, you know, Kulusevski is on the mend and he is available for Sunderland. And if this table can be a bit kinder to us and we get a few players back, but that's just not the only reason we're losing. We're losing not because we're not losing because of this injury table. We're losing because the players are not winning their duels. The players are not. They're just not confident, and they've lost belief, and they're not taking risks. They're not being aggressive enough. They're not being strong enough, and it's almost like some of these players have already lost the will to fight. And if that is true, and some of these players, and there's rumours saying that one or two of these players are actually talking about Spurs. They're saying if Spurs go down, I don't care because I'm going to move on and I'm going to get a new club. If that is actually happening, if we've actually got players in the dressing room that are talking about finding new clubs already, and they've accepted that this is not the challenge for them, and they've already put Spurs in the rearview mirror, and they're already talking to clubs and agents about their next move, in the summer, then we really are stuck. Because right now it's about characters. I was watching, if you haven't seen it, so Mick McCarthy and Tony Pulis have a YouTube channel. I don't know what it's called. I think it's got something managers, but they've got their own YouTube channel. At some point, go on that channel and watch their views on Tottenham and what they speak about. And remember, this is two managers that have kept teams up in the Premier League, in Wolves, in West Brom, in Stoke. And what they both speak about, Mick McCarthy, and they have an honest chat. It's a very casual chat, just two ex-managers having a conversation. And the one thing they speak about is they talk about being compact. And they talk about characters in the dressing room. And Pulis makes a note of this. He says, when I walked into those clubs, the first thing I looked for is putting 11 characters together. Some of those players were not technically great, but he talks about like John Walters, and he says John Walters, the character of the man, it rubbed off on others, the fight. And I'm looking at this list and I'm looking at these players, who's up for the fight. And I'm not talking about fighting with red cards or pulling your man back when he's one-on-one. That's reckless fighting. I'm talking about fighting where you sacrifice for your teammate if he loses his duel. You sacrifice for your goalkeeper. You sacrifice everything, where you have one mission in your mind, and that is to make sure Tottenham Hotspur don't get relegated. That's what we need right now. We need that sort of mentality. And watch that program with Mick McCarthy and Tony Pulis talking about the characters you need to survive relegation, not the quality necessarily, the characters. And that's the big debate, isn't it? Is who are the characters? Because Romero keeps getting sent off. Mickey's followed him now. Mickey's got sent off. Romero's got sent off. So who are the characters? Who are the characters? Vicario, don't think he's the right guy. I think he just talks. I don't think he leads with example. I think unfortunately, he's not good enough. He's just not good enough. So I don't know if the players respect him. Ben Davis, is he the guy that we need back? Well, he should be around the dressing room, shouldn't he? Even if he's injured, he should be around the squad. Like, he's been Spurs for 15 years or whatever it is, about that, 10, 15 years. Ben Davis should be in and amongst them every day saying, listen, I love this club. I've been in this club. I've seen this club survive. We've done Europe. We've done nearly a title, Premier League title. We've done the Champions League final. We've never been relegated. Where's Ben Davis, mate? Where are you? We need you right now, Ben Davis. Who else is in that dressing room? James Maddison. You are always there joking around with the players, when he goes and does his YouTube show. And it's great to get that insight of what Tottenham do, or what it's like for a player to, behind the scenes. It's great to get that content. I love it because we don't get to see that. You don't get that on the tours. But where are you, James Maddison? Where are you, mate? Where are you, Ben Davis? Rodrigo Bentancur, you've been here 5 years. Where are you? Right? You come from Juventus. You come from a big club. Where are you, mate? Kulusevski, you're keeps talking about, Michael Jordan mentality and monster mentality. We need you now, mate. Even if you're not playing, where are you? That's what I want to see, is where are these characters that we need, that Tony Pulis is talking about? Where are these characters? I'm not going to rely on Lucas Bergwijn. He's a kid. I'm not going to rely on Archie Gray, even though he's been playing well, probably one of our best players in the last week. He's a kid. I'm not going to rely on kids because it's not their responsibility. Christian Romero, you won a World Cup. Where are you? Palhinha, right? He speaks very well. He's like, he looks like he's a serious athlete. He's serious about his game, about his profession. We need these players that I've just spoke about. They're all injured or not available, but that doesn't mean they can't be in the dressing room affecting the players that play, the first 11 that plays. When Kingsley ran down the tunnel, when he got substituted, Gallagher and Solanke ran after him to console him. That's leadership. I like that. That's leadership. But that's one part of leadership. The other part of leadership is making sure your teammates give it 110%. And they don't get sent off. They don't get sent off. They don't do stupidity. They don't rip their shirt off if they score and get a yellow. They don't, do you know what I mean? They don't yell at the referee and get a yellow. They don't, I don't know, do silly things. These are the kind of traits that we're going to need to survive. These are the characters we need. And I'm looking at this list here, and like I said, they definitely ain't on the pitch against Liverpool. All of these lot are not going to be on the pitch versus Liverpool, but they should be in the dressing room. They should be on the coach, right? And they should be there standing at the bench, making sure that their mates are being 100% on it. And if they're not 100% on it, they need to call them out and say, you need to be 100% on it. The question is, do they care enough? Now, I know Ben Davies cares. We all know Ben Davies cares. We all know James Maddison probably cares. We all know, who else is there? Who else is there that cares about Spurs? Who loves Tottenham in that squad? So I've said Ben Davies, and I think James Maddison, because James Maddison openly says, I love this club. I pictured myself in a Spurs shirt when the phone call came. I'd already pictured it. I didn't want to go anywhere else. He had offers from Newcastle and a couple other clubs. I didn't want to go. I didn't go for the money to China or Saudi or whatever. I wanted to go Tottenham Hotspur because that's the club for me. Well, where are you, mate? Where are you now, right? This is my question. And I think we're good enough to stay up. Of course, we're good enough to stay up. Look at the players that are coming in are good enough to stay up versus West Ham and versus Nottingham Forest. But the problem is West Ham are united. West Ham they have the bit between their teeth. Nottingham Forest are the only team I think that will get dragged into this with us. Don't think West Ham are going to go down. I think even with the fixtures West Ham have got, they are not going to go down. For me, it's us or Forest. And unfortunately, as it stands, Forest, you can see that they're 9th in chances created. They're not playing amazingly well, but you saw at Man City what they're about. At Manchester City, they put their bodies on the line. No red cards, no stupidity. They were flinging themselves. In the last seconds of the game, the Nottingham Forest player saved a goal off the line. That's how much they care. I showed you slides earlier where we're not even winning our first headers. We're getting muscled out. Kevin Danso, Pape Sarr, I don't want to single them two out. There's loads of them. We're pulling players back to get red cards. We're diving in, studs up. Yeah, it is what it is. Anyways, thanks, guys. And do tune in for the next one. It'll probably be Monday or Tuesday. It'll be a few days after the Liverpool game. And do like, share, and subscribe. And appreciate your viewership. And let's hope on the next show, we're not talking about Forest winning. We're not talking about West Ham getting a draw. Because if that happens and we lose to Liverpool, I think I'm going to have a breakdown. But it is what it is. We've got an international break here after Forest. And in that three-week break, and I think we need one. I think if anyone needs a break, Tottenham need a break. In that 3-week break, whoever the manager is, that 3-week break is going to allow them to reset the clock. But let's see what happens. We can only talk, we can only observe, and we can only analyze. At the end of the day, it comes down to those players and it comes down to the manager. And if they take this great club down after 50 years of being at the top table, then they'll be remembered as the criminals that made this happen. That's what will happen. And it'll be on their CV like a criminal record. It'll be like a big black mark on their CVs saying you got relegated. And not only did you get relegated, you contributed to the relegation with your performances, with your lack of leadership, with your not winning your deals, with your red cards. So now is the chance, Tottenham. Now is the chance to grab it by the horns and drag it onto the pitch and keep this beautiful, amazing, historic, successful club in the Premier League where it deserves to be. Spurs, no club's not big enough to go down, but Spurs is a huge club. Tottenham Hotspur are a huge club. For Spurs to go down, It'll be bigger than Leeds going down. It'll be bigger than West Ham going down. It'll be bigger than Newcastle going down. It is a massive, massive shock if Spurs go down. Let's hope it don't happen. I'll see you on the next show. Take care. All the best. Come on, you Spurs. And try and stay sane until the next show. See you soon.